Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new chapter of Old Man Brad. Whether you are new to the show or returning for another chapter, thank you so much for giving this little horror podcast a listen. And if you love the show, drop me a review over on your favorite podcast app. I would love to hear what you think of the show. So this week we have another fun review for you. I've been kind of away for a couple weeks with reviews. Had to take just a little time off, but I'm back. This week, I'm going to talk about the Vourdalak. This is a new French horror film that is coming out on June 28th, limited in select theaters and at home on VOD. But before I dig into that, I just want to tell you, if you're in the Cincinnati area, come out to Frightful Fridays on the third Friday of the month. I host a horror screening. I want to thank everybody who came out to our screening last week. We screened Paganini Horror. We had a pretty good turnout, and everybody seemed to have a blast with this silly, cheesy 80s Italian horror movie. Next month for July 19th at 10 p.m., we are going to have a screening of The Blair Witch Project. This will be its 25th anniversary. So I'm super excited to be able to host a screening of The Blair Witch Project. Come out July 19th, 10 p.m. Let's watch a movie together. All right, it is time to talk The Vourdalak.
Ouvrez-moi, pour l'amour du ciel. J'ai été attaqué par des brigands.
Nous n'ouvrons cette porte à personne. Empruntez le sentier vers l'ouest. Vous rencontrerez la demeure du vieux Gorchin.
Que faites-vous?
Et la danse.
C'est ridicule. Arrêtez.
Mes enfants, je pars. Attendez-moi 6 jours. Mais si jamais, ce dont Dieu vous garde, je revenais après ces 6 jours révolus, je vous ordonne d'oublier que j'étais votre père et de ne point me laisser entrer. Car alors, je ne serai plus qu'un maudit Vourdalak.
Qu'est-ce qu'un Vourdalak?
Lost in a hostile forest, the Marquis d'Offroy, a noble emissary of the King of France, finds refuge in the home of a strange family. This movie is written and directed by Adrian Beau. It stars Casey Modette Klein, Adrian Labed, Gregor Collin, Vasily Schneider, and many others. When I first saw anything about the Vourdalak, I saw a trailer. I honestly only watched part of the trailer because I didn't want too much to be given away. And honestly, I'm glad I didn't watch the whole trailer, just because I've been doing that lately. I watch a little bit of the trailer and go, okay, this looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it at that. Can't wait to see it. So I did that with this. Let me tell you, French horror this year I've gotten 2 bangers from French horror this year. First, we had Pandemonium from about a month or so ago, which was a great anthology story about grief and other said things. You can go listen to my episode on that. And now we have the Vourdalak. I loved this movie. I really love this movie. This movie is beautifully shot. It is very well acted. It is very quirky and starts off with this character, Marquis, who is played by Casey Modette Klein. He is, the first scene I thought was amazing because you don't see the character at first. He banging on a door wanting refuge in this kind of, I guess it's like an inn or a bar or something like that. You know, it's raining outside. They slide the opening of the door open that you've seen in movies before. But what's really cool is that every time the lightning strikes, it lights up and you just see a silhouetted shadow outline of him on the door. He got told to go to talk to Gorcha about, he'll help you out, give you a horse, and let you go on your way. So we cut to him after, I think it's like the next morning. He's walking through the forest, and he comes across Zdenka, who is singing in the forest. The shots, let me just tell you, the shots in this movie, I'm going to keep this spoiler free, so I'm just going to kind of set up this beginning a little bit and then just kind of go from there. The forest shots, everything is so colorful but not, because the greenery is very bright, very lush, and everything else seems very kind of toned down in a way with very spots of color. The way it's shot, there's like this soft focus on everything. It feels like you're watching an old movie that you rented at the video store in the 80s. It almost feels very VHS, very old looking. It gives it a great style, and I absolutely loved the look of this movie. The cinematography in this movie was great. The colors, the shadows, the darkness that it sets up. As I was watching it, I was like, man, this movie would look fantastic in black and white. I think it would look great in black and white. Especially the beginning scene, like I said, where the flashes and the shadows. There are other scenes where it plays with shadow and things in the darkness. In the forest, you don't know what's coming out of the forest. There's a scene where they're standing on kind of almost like a cliff face talking, and just the way it's shot, the way it's framed, I really did. I was looking, I was like, man, in black and white, this would just look beautiful. So who knows? Maybe eventually they'll release a black and white version of it. It would be very cool, but it has a old school VHS look of the soft focus and colors, just the way it is. It's kind of hard to explain. If you watched it and it's either something you grew up with or something you watch now, you'll kind of get that. The other thing that I loved in this movie, everything was practical. All this practical work. There is puppetry at work in this that is top notch. There's some puppetry with a character in this movie that at first you kind of get thrown off of. That's kind of where it hits the quirky side, is the style of it. This movie it's a story that I loved about this family and this connection that they have. Some of them aren't quite as connected, and the way this family deals with this situation and how problems arise as it kind of goes. And this stranger is kind of stuck in the middle of everything as it happens, leading up to this ending that is kind of sad, but kind of, I don't want to say happy, but kind of, if you feel a sense of almost relief for a character. There are a few scenes that are just kind of heartbreaking as you go. And I mean, overall, this movie is highly recommended. It will probably end up in a top list for the year, whether it's an honorable mention or the top 10. We'll have to see how the rest of the year plays out. But right now, this is right up there with the top movies I've seen. Like I said, there are two French movies, the Vourdalak and Pandemonium, which are fantastic and you should definitely go check out. Make sure you check out the Vourdalak. It drops, like I said, in select theaters June 28th and on VOD. And if you see it, let me know what you thought of it. See if it hit you as well as it did for me. I loved this movie. I look forward to honestly watching it again and would love to see it in black and white, like I said, because it is beautifully shot. It is quirky. It is weird. It's got an odd love story to it, this family story, and a lot of things going on. Fantastic film. Go check out the Vourdalak. Well, that's enough of my ramblings on the Vourdalak. But since I've been away for a while, I want to give you some films that you can go check out at home besides the Vourdalak. You're going to go rent the Vourdalak. But then if you want to stream some films, there is a series of films that I just finished watching. There are 4 films in the series, and it's dubbed what's called the Blind Dead Saga. So it is about the zombie Templar Knights. And there are 4 movies in the series. Tombs of the Blind Dead, Return of the Evil Dead, or it's also called Attack of the Blind Dead, The Ghost Galleon, and Night of the Seagulls. These are all Spanish horror films. Tombs of the Blind Dead you can watch on Shudder. Return of the Evil Dead or Attack of the Blind Dead I watched on YouTube. And then the last two, The Ghost Galleon and Night of the Seagulls, I watched on Tubi. None of these movies, they don't connect. There isn't an interwoven story between the four, so you could watch any of them at any time. They're all standalone. The only thing that kind of keeps them together, but not really like keeps them together, if that makes sense, is the zombie Templars. They look the same throughout all four films. They kind of come out, the sound when they come is the same soundtrack, the same, all of that, but there is no interwoven story. The story kind of changes with some of the mythology of them as each movie goes. It kind of almost feels like not a reset, but kind of a retelling of a lot of the things as they go. But I loved them. I loved all four of them. Go check out the films in the Blind Dead saga. Highly recommended. Well, that will do it for another chapter of Old Man Brad. Thank you so much for listening. If you love the show, just subscribe and you'll never miss any episode. Before I head out, I just want to give you one little promo. Bring Home Bob Marley, One Love, now on 4K disc and digital. Celebrate the life and music of the icon who inspires generations through his message of love, peace, and unity. Buy the film critics are calling the perfect movie at the perfect time, and get over 50 minutes of behind-the-scenes footage and deleted scenes. Available everywhere now. I will be back soon with a new chapter, trying to figure out what movies I kind of want to line up. I have a few lined up for later in July. Just keep it right here, and you'll never miss any episode. Snuggle up in that blanket. Turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.